So, what's that line between joking about something being terrible and having a back and forth about that, and then kind of going so over the top it just sounds like ranting? How do you know where to draw the line there? Let's talk about that. Hey there, this is Perch. I want to describe what I think is a healthy situation, and then how that gets kind of torqued around a little bit. A healthy situation, I think, is one where the you can pick up a comic, and it's a comic that you don't like. The art's bad, the story's bad, both are bad, whatever. The characters, whatever that might be, and you poke fun at it. Some would call it roasting, some would call it making jokes and everything else. But you poke fun at it. You're like, this is dumb. Um, but hopefully, kind of in a witty way. Just like this is dumb is not, not the most creative, witty way of expressing yourself. But whatever. You're just kind of throwing something out there. And then, um, maybe some people disagree, so then they come back and go, "Well, you're dumb," But then, again, ideally, better if they do it in kind of a witty way. And there's that kind of back and forth of kind of poking fun at each other over a comic or a movie or a TV show or whatever it happens to be. There's lots of examples of how this is done in a healthy, non-crazy way. They're less and less every day because the crazy is outnumbering it quickly. But there are lots of examples of how this is done. And I think what we as a society, as people, as community, whatever, I'm not making some big lofty statement here, but was we as people should try and do as much as we can is not get too emotionally wrapped up in getting offended by one thing or another. So, as an example, I mean, this is the example of the month. I'm just going to keep using it over and over. You got She-Hulk, okay, and She-Hulk has been changed, and she's got the PTSD rage thing going, so she's stuck in let's call it Big Hulk mode for a while. So she's got the, more muscles, more giant kind of Hulk. Again, I like to keep reminding people of it because a lot of people think this is a new phenomenon. We've seen it before. Avengers Disassembled. It was a kind of a key moment where she lost her mind and she went into Rage Hulk status, and she started kind of, she hulked out, got big, and started yelling and destroying things. Okay, and people have insulted that Hulk. They have said this Hulk is garbage. And what I want to point out, so number one, I think some people have definitely gotten too. So when I say keep the emotion out of it, I think that the healthiest reaction is to come in and kind of make jokes about it, or say I don't like this, and hey, whatever, make some jokes about it. Not hopefully not like every hour, every day. That's obsession land. That's a whole different category. But some people make jokes about, hey, this is hashtag not my She-Hulk. Okay, sure, but not go into kind of the fierce aggressive rage. I think as soon as you tip into that really aggressive rage about the topic, it's like you're hulking out yourself. You become people no longer hear your point and they're just hearing your rage or your joke. They just hear your rage. So it's very fine line on how you do that. I had the video a while back of giving away your power. I think that's the way you give away you certainly give away, you certainly open up the door for people to misinterpret you. And, you know, I think that, interpretation is in the eye of the beholder. Everybody, does their own thing and can interpret things in their own way. But you can certainly get people to that point by making your statement unclearly or by screaming and shouting. I mean, like if your point is comics cost too much and you choose to deliver that point by saying, thanks to minorities who should be removed from society, comics are too expensive. Well, guess what? Nobody is going to hear for just for the record, because I don't know what kind of YouTube algorithms are on. That is a patently offensive, terrible statement. But it's also one that nobody hears you say comics are too expensive anymore. All they hear is like your craziness. So don't lace so much craziness into things that nobody hears what you're trying to say, unless you don't want to be heard, and then that's your own business. But back to jokes. I mean, people should be able to tell jokes. You should be able to say, hey, what's going on with She-Hulk here, and be able to joke about it and have people joke back with you. But the outrage seems impossible that one side or the other will avoid outrage. But the healthiest interactions are with one side can joke, hey, this She-Hulk, make a joke about big She-Hulk, and the other side can come in and make a joke about, I think it's fine, and here's a joke back at you. And both sides are keeping it light and friendly, and it doesn't have to be all dramatic. I mean, for God's sake, it's just She-Hulk on a page. It doesn't have to be the end of the world. Just converse normally, and that's, I've said it many times before. That's healthy. That's healthy for a community, and it is what goes on in the shops. Typically, it has happened that when two people argue about something, about Marvel versus DC, which company is better, that one side, it tips them into kind of their own crazy town, and then they can't hear it, and they kind of turn into a frothing mass of no, DC is better, and damn it, it's better, and here's why, and you're an idiot, and they like tip over the table. But 99 times out of 100, I've definitely seen that play out in real life. I've seen the customer get so angry they throw a comic on the floor and stomp out of the store. But that's like the one time out of 100 or 500 that happens. Unfortunately, on Twitter, social media, that's 1 in 2, or maybe it's 5 times that the rage happens to one normal time. The whole odds are all skewed the other direction. But that's we have to give each other the opportunity to tell our jokes. So if somebody is raging out about She-Hulk and you happen to like the new design of She-Hulk and you see no problems with it, maybe you go in and you joke back and you poke back, and you don't go in like with your guns out and just start firing at people because you're outraged in the opposite direction. Maybe you don't drop the bomb. You remember, it's funny because I think this has been erased, and not in a good way. Do you remember that years ago they'd say that guy dropped the bomb and used the N word, or they dropped the N word bomb? And at once upon a time, and that N word is not Nazi; it's the bad N word. At once upon a time, that was seen as a complete defeat in the argument. You have resorted to kind of one of the most offensive names you could call somebody, and you just threw that out at them, and you dropped the bomb, so to speak, in that you've kind of on yourself. You've killed the conversation, and you've made it so you've taken it to a level that's just so offensive. And for if you go further back in time, that used to be the case with Hitler. If you drop the Hitler bomb, like you're Hitler, it's like it's a sign you have lost. It's a sign that the person who's invoking Hitler in the argument is the person who is kind of over the top, bloviating goofball who cannot be trusted with opinions. That person has failed. And slowly but surely, Hitler has been normalized as something to call somebody else, or the kind of what I call the sneaky Hitler. It's like well, you're acting like a certain guy in Germany who's a fascist. It's like, okay, you're calling somebody Hitler. I mean, you use some other words around there, but everybody knows what you meant. The problem is dropping those bombs kills any hope of conversation, makes the person who uses it typically look like a fool, like they don't really have a good argument and they don't have good information themselves, so they've just resorted to kind of name calling nonsense. And it doesn't help. It doesn't help anything. So in comics, we need to be able to both pull up a panel and say, I don't like this, or better yet, like, whoa, what's going on here? I try, and I'm not saying I'm successful in all respects, but I try when I'm making fun of, like, every now and then you pick up a comic and you're like, you look at a panel, you're like, whoa, what in the hell is going on here? This was the case with the Batgirl, tub in front of the door panel. It's like, okay, all right, what is going on? And I try and post those panels not with can you believe the state of current DC Marvel? This is, SJW infiltration. If I did that, I know I would have more subscribers. That's kind of the irony here, is that I would be doing better if I did things like that. But I have to. I'm still holding out hope that at some point the world will snap around and people will go, whoa, that's crazy talk. all the people who use SJW in every other title of their videos are like, eventually, like the world's going to look at them like, okay, we're tired of that term. Even though we agree with the point, we're tired of this term. But whatever. Tired of the people's behaviors, tired of the term. That's what we can all hope for. Uh, but it's I try and post these things up and talk about them in a way to kind of say, look at how hilarious this is, or oh my God, what's going on here, or maybe even if you can come up with a funny joke like I don't know, like I don't know what a funny joke about a door in front of the bathtub is exactly, but just try a more lighthearted approach to it. And what happens, and I don't, everybody's their own person, but what happens is usually two different forms of dog pile. One that comes in going, how dare you insult comic art? All comic art is wonderful in its own unique and special way. And the other half going, oh my God, yeah, this is an example of how the commies have infiltrated comics. It's like, okay, um, everybody has their own opinion, your own passion. That's cool. But can we just enjoy how hilarious this is? Like, come on, this is funny. Let's just joke. I want to, I've thrown out, and by the way, comic creators are often fairly cool people when you just present something like a joke and you don't make it World War III with them. They will often, take the joke and be good natured about it. Donnie Cates, Tom King, Brian Michael Bendis. I have poked fun at them in a friendly way, and they have poked fun back and taken it in good stride. And I had Donnie Cates laugh, and thought his Creators in Crisis thing was well done, or not well done, but funny. Sorry, I don't want to put words in the mouth. He thought it was funny. And Tom King, I made a joke about him saying, would you like to see Superman kill your mom? Well, you're about to. And he's like, yeah, this is on brand. It's funny. That's all. That's all we want. That's all anybody wants. So um, we want that kind of basic interaction. I think it's getting so toxic that a lot of creators are reluctant now to even go in on some of the jokes because somebody puts a joke out and 20 people dogpile it with this is an example of the downfall of Western society, and it's like the creator is like, oh, I'm not even going to go in and make a joke now. And we got to be able to take jokes. I've been saying that over and over. And to be clear, the other way too. If you make a joke and some people joke around back, you shouldn't come in with a baseball bat going, how dare you insult comics? It's like, let's lighten up. You know, they're comics. It's entertainment. We're supposed to have fun with each other over it. And there is lots of ways you can have fun and not be cruel. And not everything is cruel. Poking fun at something does not automatically make it cruel. Don't care who the creator is. The vast majority of jokes and things I see online about comics don't mention the creator themselves. The creator's kind of left out of it. It's poking at a panel or art or whatever. The She-Hulk stuff that I posted on the Avengers, people were poking at the ludicrous nature of the scene or the fact that Blade's motorcycle was weirdly tiny in the panel. That's cool. You know, that's a joke. We should roll with a joke. It's very few people came in there and wanted to talk about, Jason Aaron being a communist. I mean, very, very, almost nobody. So let's just have fun with the joke and enjoy comics and poke fun at each other. And we don't, you don't need to come running to the defense of every joke. You're not defending comics. You're not defending anything. You're being Maud Flanders is what you're being on either end. Um, anyway, that's a long bit about jokes, but I guarantee you will be happier. Comics will be funner. Community will be stronger, but you will be happier. I want to underline and bold that statement. You will be happier if we can just take a joke both ways. Don't make cruel jokes, but most jokes are not cruel on the surface. They just get that way after a lot of kind of back and forth and nonsense. So anyway, leave me a comment. Tell me where I'm wrong. Want to hear it. Do you notice, and by the way, when I do these, I don't know, have I ever said, tell me how I'm right? I always love people who say they agree with me, and I'm happy to see it. It brightens my day a little bit, so there's a nice little boost there. But I also love it when people tell me where I'm wrong. I'm here to learn things, so tell me where I'm wrong. I can take it. It's a video. I mean, good Lord, not the end of the world. So tell me where I'm crazy. Downvote the hell out of this video. Go for it. You know you want to. Like, subscribe, notify, tell friends, follow me on Twitter at Comic Perch. Thank you for listening.